Dorothy Day said, "We have all known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and that love is found in community." I'm Kaycee Cortner for Catholic Rural Life. I'm a ranch wife, editor, writer, horsewoman, and mom. Today we're going to be discussing what we can do when we're feeling isolated from the rest of the world. Isolation is a massive problem in our society, not just for those of us living the rural life, but certainly for us to a different degree. We live in a technological age where efficiency wins out over connection. And those of us living remotely are also quite a distance from urban areas and other people, and it can be quite lonely. Now, this is a heavy topic, but a reality. Those involved in agriculture are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. Isolation is likely a contributing factor. This is hard to talk about, but we know the instigator, right? The devil loves it when we feel isolated, alone, or feel like we're the only ones. We must be on guard against this. As my favorite writer, G.K. Chesterton, said, "We are not entitled to despair." I'll say this now and I'll say it again. God is everywhere and He is with you always. God not only made us for communion with Him, He also made us for communion with each other. We aren't meant to be lonely or isolated. One of the first remedies to isolation is to begin at home. The family is the most important community. No family's perfect, but we can always continue to make our marriages and our homes a place where love can flourish so that we can go forth and spread it throughout the world. Just outside our familial circle is our home parish community. If we're honoring our Sunday obligation and going to Mass, we have the opportunity to commune with other families that share our faith. There are so many opportunities for communion: men's group, women's group, book clubs, homeschool co-ops, and the list goes on. There are these groups in every parish that serve our need for socialization and edification through our brothers and sisters in the faith. And stay for coffee after Mass. You won't regret it. Though we can be invigorated by spending time with those who share our faith, we're also called to live in community with those who don't necessarily share our values. Indeed, most of our family and friends are probably not practicing Catholics. No matter. God has placed us in this time and this location because He believes we can do the most good here. Find common ground with those around you and be a light, creating community with them too. The internet can be a paradoxical solution and catalyst for loneliness. Connecting with people via the internet can be used for good, but it's not the greatest good. It's better to have close community with those around you than a community online, but in our fallen world, sometimes we must make concessions. For those who feel very alone in their Catholic faith, I myself am often the only practicing Catholic in many of my circles. There are amazing online communities. This is not the ideal, but it can open the door for meaningful relationships and surround us with support and inspiration. God can work anywhere, and there are wonderful things that happen online, but the good of our soul must be at the forefront of all our decision making. We all know the perils of spending too much time online. It's probably not the best thing for our spiritual life. FaceTiming someone will never replace a meaningful conversation in person, and we know this innately because that's how God designed us. Loving and living in communion with the people God has given us should always be the ultimate goal. Another solution to isolation is making use of something that is a great gift to us Catholics: the saints. The saints, who are really just great servants of Jesus Christ, who are with Him in heaven, can intercede for us and help us on earth. It's been said that the saints choose you, and I've found that to be true in my own life. Some that have been immensely helpful to me are Saint Anne, the patron saint of equestrians and the grandmother of our Lord; Blessed Solanus Kaycee, who was a farm boy from Wisconsin and whose feast day is my wedding anniversary; and Saint Joseph, who was the epitome of masculinity on this earth, a strong man who worked with his hands and protected and defended Our Lady and our Lord. Reading the lives of the saints helps me to relate to people I know are in heaven and who had their own set of flaws, struggles, and imperfections just like me. Get to know them. They will pray for you to our Lord and accompany you. Also, do not neglect your guardian angel. Did you know that you receive an angel upon your birth, and We each have one that never leaves our side as long as we live. Incredible. Yet most of us never think about our angel. Ask for their assistance. You are never alone. Finally, and perhaps the most obvious point, our Lord is with us always. Isolation only happens if we despair of being alone. But solitude is not bad if we keep God at the forefront of our minds. C.S. Lewis actually insists that solitude helps us to become better friends and better Christians. He said, "We live, in fact, in a world starved for solitude, silence, and privacy, and therefore starved for meditation and true friendship." St. Padre Pio said a few words that cut to the heart of this issue. "And every day, when your heart especially feels the loneliness of life, pray." Lastly, here is a parting sentiment from our Lord Jesus Christ from the book of Matthew. "And behold, I am with you always, until the end of the age."